What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
We are here for another fun Wednesday evening. I'm going to throw out all of these things right now. So if you haven't yet, please do. So you get notified when we're on Wednesday nights. So Mike will be here in a little bit, but we figured we start off, and we got some really cool news. But let's say hello and see who's in here. Nick and Derek, how are you guys doing?
And I'm good. I got my other Iowa Wookiee shirt on this week. So
looks good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Gotta love that.
Nice. I'm doing well too. I'm happy to be here.
Good.
I was actually talking 2026.
I was talking live, and I was like talking. I said, Nick's been having some cool questions, so I don't know if you have any for tonight, but we'll see when we get there. But April, yeah, there you go. April, thank you for jumping on. Max Rebo, he said he's out doing some stuff. Jedi Jarvo, he jumped on with me. I don't know if it was TikTok or Instagram earlier. We were going live, so appreciate you guys jumping on here. Nathan, thanks for joining in, and we're happy that everybody's here. It's we're growing each week. So again, if you guys have friends that don't know about us yet, have them jump over here. I actually met a neighbor tonight that is a huge Star Wars fan. So hopefully they'll jump on here. It's sometime soon. So, but it's like I think Nick said, it's a cool day for some park stuff, and I know everybody knows, like in our thumbnail there, Derek is our resident park expert who has pretty much forecasted this. Is it a leak or is it official yet?
It's official. It is on StarWars.com.
Okay.
I'm on the website right now. All the Disney official pages have it. This is real. I got called by 3 different Disney podcasts today alone to like be a guest. And I'm like, I'm too busy. Plus, I didn't want to be breaking that news unless I was on here.
Oh,
this is where I predicted it on this show many times, and we're here.
And if you haven't heard it yet, tell us what's going on.
Oh man. I feel like we should wait for Mike for this, but it's huge. I mean, we're going to do it anyway.
We can do that. We can wait for Mike. Hey, Tim, what's going on? Derek's got a cool shirt again.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Let me move the mic. There we go.
Jarvo.
Ron, what's on your shirt?
It's that dun. This way.
Ooh, switching the camera angle too.
Oh, yeah. He's so fancy.
Yeah,
hey, I'm trying.
We can get talking because I could do a whole episode on this. So, as predicted and as requested by me and millions of other Star Wars fans, Disney has finally accepted defeat at Galaxy's Edge, and they're doing away with their storyline and their timeline of it being after the prequels or the sequels. So that means we're gonna get Luke. We're going to get Darth Vader. We're going to get all of our favorite characters at Galaxy's Edge, starting at Disneyland. It's going to start in April, but it's going to be great. And they're like, oh, yeah, we'll still have Rey, but she'll pretty much be over by Rise of the Resistance. So everything else is going to be, I mean, this is what we all wanted. We don't care about the timeline. We don't care. And it begs the question, are we going to get Thrawn? Are we going to get Padme? There's a lot of things that we could get. We're getting more stormtroopers, which is amazing. And the original concept was that they were supposed to have a lot more interactive characters. It was going to be kind of like what the resort was. That didn't make it. But this is a good step in the right direction. You're going to even see Han Solo and Chewie. You're going to hear, this is the other cool thing. You're going to hear the John Williams score played throughout the land.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's going to be pretty cool.
I'm going to cry.
Which I'm sort of surprised that they haven't had that yet. Why was that? Why was his music not playing?
They were trying to keep it in that whole timeline thing. And I will say, like, I do love the ambiance of Galaxy's Edge and like having this original music, but we're over it. Like, it was a neat experiment. They've been doing it for how long now? Like, when did it open? Oh, it's been a minute. Yeah. So it's been a while. It's 7 years, maybe. and it's time. It's time to give us what we want, and they're doing that now. This is starting at Disneyland. They have not announced if this is coming to Disney World. I would have to think it is. Obviously, this is how they test everything. It's like Disneyland gets to test everything first, and then it goes to Disney World. But man, we're gonna see Darth Vader walking around.
Well, see, and I can remember that back when it was Star Tours, I guess, before they had, when you walk underneath the big AT-AT, going into Star Tours and different things like that. Some of the characters would walk around, and obviously they had the stormtroopers. But I'm excited about this. Do you think that they're doing this because of like fans like us, some old school fans? Because I was just, it's crazy. I just saw some of these polls that they put out on Instagram and different things like that. They had one, who is the most hated character? And they had two of them. And one was Jar Jar Binks and one was Rey. And Rey blew it out of the water, which again, as we've talked about before, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but now that we're getting some more information about it and some new comics that we'll talk about later, but books and things like that are explaining some of these things, it's not, it's not so taboo. But I think that this is also a ploy to bring some of these hardcore fans back in to the Disney. We get to see Vader and Luke and Leia, and somebody like Han, walking around. So I think that has something to do with it as well.
Yeah. Well, we're also going to get Ahsoka. And this isn't speculation. This is from StarWars.com. So we are going to get everybody. Like we are getting there. They are pulling out all the stops. Now it's how often we're going to get them all. We don't know. But it's saying Han's wearing his iconic vest and Leia rocks the battle ready white outfit. Her hair's up in the practical crown braids. We've got so much cool stuff. Vader, Han, Luke, Leia, R2, Rey, Ahsoka, Chewbacca, Din Djarin, Grogu. Yes, I can't say enough. I love it. I'm so happy.
Dan had something up here, I think, and I think you're right, but I think both of you are right. I think we will possibly see Thrawn, but I don't think just yet. I think we won't. Maybe after Ahsoka season 2, or if he gets brought into the Mandalorian and Grogu, hopefully trilogy, if he gets brought into that and he's more of a character that way, we might see him wandering around, which I think would be freaking awesome to have a Chiss walking around.
Oh yeah. Well, and it goes with the storylines with Padme and Anakin, and how cool would that be as if they did different times, like, oh hey, every once a month we've got Thrawn and Anakin and Padme. Like that's how you're going to drive tourism. That's how you're going to get people there. And that's really what this is. It's because Galaxy's Edge is getting a little stagnant for some people. If you've been there once, not for me. If I've been there once, I'll go there 1,000 times. But I can see like the casual fan, they're like, cool, whatever. This is a way to bring in a lot of people. And it's a way to suck in a lot of the crowd space, because if they don't have as many rides or whatever, having characters like that, iconic characters that people don't get to see all the time, takes up a lot of crowd space. It's perfect. It's a cheap way for them to do it. They only have to pay one salary.
Yeah. Yeah. And to reiterate to everyone watching, Derek has predicted this many times on the podcast that they were going to do away with the timeline at Galaxy's Edge, which I would say, to piggyback off what you guys were saying about, bringing in some classic characters to get more, longtime fans on board. I think it's also because none of us really cared that it was in timeline. You know what I mean? Like no one was going to Galaxy's Edge and being like, oh, well, does all of this match up to our Star Wars canon timeline? Like it's just cool anyway. And it only makes it better to have like recognizable characters in there. Not that Rey and Kylo Ren and Chewie and the Stormtroopers are not recognizable. They're extremely, but I feel like the sticking to the timeline was way less important than having a recognizable product for everyone that goes to Disneyland. which I think drives the popularity of that part of the park for casual fans even more, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like, how long is it going to be until it comes to Disney World? Because they're doing this to test the waters, but they're not going to revert. That's the other thing. It's like, once they've made this decision, it's a decision they're going to stick with. Now, like I said, I'm going to be there next week. I'm going to the NAMM show in Anaheim, which is across the street at the convention center. So of course I'm going to hit up Disneyland. I have to, but this doesn't start until April, which means I'm just going to have to go back. Darn. Maybe I can do a special report there. If anybody, we're working on getting monetized in this channel, so we don't yet have our perks and things like that. But if anybody wants to help fund all of us to go, we'll take it, folks. We'll take it.
A little work trip.
To report. Yeah, we'd love to report live from Galaxy's Edge for y'all.
Yeah. What was do you remember the exact date on that for the
maybe
April
the 11th, I think.
29th. Oh, the 11th.
Oh, maybe it was later. I don't know. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. Wrong. Let's see if it says on this article.
Yeah, I think that's going to be.
April 29th. You're right. So
okay, a little bit later.
So yeah, right before movies are released and series and everything else.
Yeah, Vader popped on the stream, and that's just it. When you see this guy walking around, it's awesome. And everybody's going to get back into the happiness of the original trilogy. Everybody knows all of these characters, that are going to be popping up. The John Williams music just joining in is going to be amazing, especially, throughout their playing it. I mean, I do that sometimes when I'm here, just, working, have some of that stuff on because it's just so good,
So I have a question for Derek.
Oh, all right.
Parks wise. I have not been to Universal in a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And Universal famously has Harry Potter World. 3 of them now, right? In Harry Potter World, I know this is a Star Wars show. Sorry, guys. Is it also relegated to a timeline, or is it kind of like open world, go do your thing?
So being the parks guy, I've had an annual pass at Disney World for probably about 7 years. And I will admit, I have not seen any of Harry Potter World. Even though I love Harry Potter, when you spend that kind of money on an annual pass, you don't want, you got to get your money's worth. So I've been like devout Disney and I have not seen it. So I don't know.
So I guess the reason I ask is from what I've heard from people who go or take their families to Harry Potter World, it's just you're immersed in the world of Harry Potter, but there's no, you can go any direction into this era, that era, whatever. And I was always kind of surprised that the first Star Wars park was relegated to like a very specific place and time and book and set of books. And I feel like this could open up a similar experience for people who go to this Harry Potter world and kind of just get lost in it. We already do that. I don't think I ever walked through Galaxy's Edge and went like, was keeping track or anything. But to take that away just gives them so much opportunity to do literally whatever they want. If going into Ahsoka season 2, they want to put Thrawn out there, they can. They could have anyway. But the flip side of it is it eliminates our nitpicking of the what's it called? The ride, the Millennium Falcon ride.
Oh yeah, Smuggler's Run.
We just spent a whole podcast a couple of weeks ago saying, well, if they make these changes, is Batu going to be in the movie and all this stuff? Maybe it gets rid of that speculation, but
maybe it doesn't. Maybe it makes it stronger.
Yeah.
Maybe it makes it stronger.
Yeah.
The other thing, the whole timeline thing with them doing it again, and I mentioned this earlier, is that the whole idea, the original idea with Galaxy's Edge is they were going to have a ton of characters walking around that were actually like in universe acting. They were going to have droids going all around. They were even supposed to have a ride with like, you could ride, it wasn't a bantha, but it was something similar. And all of that got scrapped because of budgets. So had they done that, the timeline would have made sense because you would have been so immersed in this space. But that's really why they did the Star Cruiser, because it was like, oh, well, we already had these plans. We even had the costumes and we even had like actors working on this stuff. But let's test it out and really charge people a lot of money. And we all know that did not work out well, unfortunately. I didn't get to go. None of us got to go. But I've had friends that were on it a lot, like several times. They loved it. They said it was incredible and they would have paid more money again. But again, we love all things Star Wars, so I don't want to be stuck in it in a timeline. I want all of it, and we're getting it. And I knew when they closed down that launch bay at Disney World, I said it on the show, said they're closing this down. They've got to put those characters somewhere. Well, that's what's happening. Now, they're not doing it at Disney World yet. They're doing it at Disneyland first, but it's going to happen. It'll be at Disney World. We know it will be.
Am I remembering correctly that when they were announcing Galaxy's Edge before it was ready, that they were going to have like those actors walking around, like total full immersion in the park?
Yeah. So that was the deal, is that they were going to have like unique characters. And that was where like the stuff with the Black Spire book with like Vi is around, like Vi's running around, but that's why you have Oga's Cantina and Doc Ondar's and Savi's Workshop. Those were all things in that book, and it was supposed to be highly immersive. And there was like the droid depot was supposed to be that, oh, you build your droid, but then you walk outside and there's droids everywhere. And we didn't get any of that. And somebody asked earlier how many people actually did let me see who said this, did the bounty hunter missions. How many people? Jan said, how many people were actually bounty hunting in Batuu? If you did it once, you did it enough. And it was with the app, and they tried to make the app more interactive and that you could scan things and it would do different things. Like it's cool, like you could scan certain things with your phone and it would make like the Millennium Falcon do different things, or to make the TIE fighter like have smoke going in and different things like that. But like that, like people like us, we're not going to do that. We might do it once. I'd rather just sit in Galaxy's Edge and have a beer and like just sit there. And I've done that. Like I've gone there and just sat outside.
Yeah, it's definitely cool just to hang out in there, with everything that's going on in there, with the bar and all the little shops and stuff. I think it's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's going on, Brandon, and Chopper Base. I think, Jan, I think people definitely want to be immersed in it. I think I would want to be a little bit. Again, maybe once a year or whenever you go, because again, I think it would be cool just to sit around and hang out, have a beer, whatever. I don't drink, but hang at the hang
well,
at that.
I do.
Have a coffee, whatever. Have
a little blue milk.
Food, I went into the bar. There was such a long line. I just was like, "Hey, can I go in?" And I wandered around, and I it was just so cool being in there and checking it out. So I think it's going to be really cool. And this could also, like we were talking about with the movies, is this going to be like, okay, we're going to bring back Han, Leia, and Luke because they could possibly pop up again somewhere in these movies, like we've talked about, in reference to, especially with the Mandalorian and Grogu. If we're going to deep fake some of these people, coming in, which I don't mind the deep fake. I think they've done a pretty good job so far with it. So I think this could be a possibility where they have someone, have these characters in there, and all of a sudden we see them somewhere else.
Right. And maybe we'll get Max Rebo in there somewhere. You never know. There is some news. So Ron, since you said you don't drink, there is a new drink at Galaxy's Edge. They have dumped the green milk and now they have a pink milk, because green milk was terrible. It was horrible. People only got the blue milk. The green was so bad. But it is a plant-based non-dairy milk with sweet, fruity, and somewhat artificial strawberry banana flavors. Somewhat, I would say completely.
Sweet and fruity. Mike comes in at sweet and fruity.
Hey, there's sweet and fruity right there. Oh man, Mike, you missed so much great stuff.
I'm sorry. I know. I was running home from Galaxy's Edge. I heard that there was new people there. They weren't even there, and I had to run back home.
Of
I was like, oh shit, it's not April yet.
Hey, it's gonna be here before we know it. It's gonna be amazing.
True. I was listening though, so I'm not like far behind. I know what you guys were talking about.
Nice. So you know that we were talking about a little bit of some news about the parks that somebody on this show has been calling for a very long time.
Nice job, Chopper. Good job. Yeah, boom. You called it, buddy. No.
What's your thought?
Yeah, so my take on it is I think Derek made it happen. I think he went over and like threatened somebody at Disney, and it made it happen. But it's awesome. I mean, you can't stay in the sequel era forever. So it's great to see them do that. And as you guys mentioned earlier, like for normie fans, Darth Vader is a recognizable name around the world. Rey, yes, but not to the same extent. Like Darth Vader is one of the greatest villains of all time. You look at lists of greatest villains ever, it's like him, the Joker, and Doctor Doom. Like those are the top three on every list. And so to have that much of a recognizable face will just draw in the extra amount of normie fans, or just people who want to come see Darth Vader, or even other characters. And my favorite part of all this is it's before The Mandalorian and Grogu, and that every single project that comes out from here on out can have some sort of event at Galaxy's Edge where those characters from that show, like Mando and Grogu, or Ahsoka Season 2 later on in the year, or even for Maul Shadow Lord, you can have those characters appear at Galaxy's Edge. So they're like, hey, those characters that you love on screen, come visit them at Galaxy's Edge. It seems like a no-brainer. Like, we're shocked that it hasn't happened yet. Yeah.
Right. Well, and I don't know if you heard me earlier, but I saw a poll today, and they were talking about who's the more hated character, Rey or Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And Rey was like 92%.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe that, so to
because
speak.
If you go to the park, every little girl is all obsessed with Rey.
Yeah, it's not the audience that the sequels were made for that's voting on that poll, but still true to that point. Yes. And Max Rebo even brought it up in 2028. Like, yeah, you could be having not Ryan Gosling himself, but his character could be at the park. Like, we don't know how popular Starfighter is going to be, but still you have that opportunity now.
Well, they've done that with Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, and having oh gosh, why am I messing up his name? Why can't I'm brain farting? Help me. Yeah, Star-Lord. So they have Star-Lord running around the park, and of course the moms love Star-Lord.
Who doesn't love Star-Lord?
I mean, a true story, but I'm just saying, give the ladies what they want.
It's giving everybody what they want. Vader, Ahsoka, Din Djarin. Like, if you're a fan of, because it's right now, it's neglecting the people who either don't like the sequels or like something else in Star Wars. And we talk about it all the time. There is different things for different people all across the board in Star Wars. You can like a completely more childish, whatever type of story, and you can watch this or that. And then you can like a spy thriller with no lightsabers and no force, and you can watch Andor. Like, there's everything and anything for all different fans. But at Galaxy's Edge, it's just the sequels. So it's sequels or die. And now it's not going to be that case. That's going to be different now.
Yeah, we had to wonder.
We just did that. I was in the middle of putting that ready to put it up, and I was like, "Wait a minute, how'd that get up?"
I got you.
Yeah, perfect, nice work. Somebody had mentioned
just over here in the studio.
Our producer Nick. But somebody had mentioned, are they going to do something different with Rise of the Resistance? And I don't think so, but like they could. I'm kind of mixed with that one because I really love that ride. I think that's a wonderful attraction.
It is a great ride, but you are already seeing changes to Smuggler's Run for The Mandalorian and Grogu. They're doing a specific ride for that movie. You're going to see that happen over and over and over again for Starfighter, for the Rey movie, for all the movies to come, and maybe even the shows. But as you say, Rise of Resistance would be a harder thing to change. For the Smuggler's Run, you can just change the mission.
It'd almost be impossible.
Well, you could stay like with the same, I guess, path that people go on and just change the exterior kind of like the hangar bay is now stormtroopers instead of first order stormtroopers, and the hangar bay looks slightly different, and maybe the ship looks slightly like you could alter it slightly, but yeah, it would be very difficult to change fully.
Yeah, Jan says replace Kylo with Thrawn. I mean, you'd have to redo the whole thing. It would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not opposed, but that's not really how Disney works.
And animatronics are very expensive and very finicky as well.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if anything, they could change Hux into Thrawn on that. And I don't know what they would do with Kylo. Maybe they'd just bring Kylo in. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I know you guys brought it up already, but Thrawn. I mean, Thrawn is a guy who could be roaming around the parks for the next 10 years if we are lucky, or 5 to 6 or
Yeah, I'd cut off a
6
finger for that. That'd be awesome.
6 to 8 years.
Oh, but I also think that it's going to be a minute. I think there's not. I think it was maybe Jan. Somebody said that he's not that well known yet. For the normie fans. Maybe after we get him in Ahsoka season 2, or if they bring him into Mandalorian and Grogu, people will be like, oh, "Okay, that's the new cool bad guy." Well, and to have a Chiss walking around would be pretty sweet.
To that end, no one knows who Vi Marati is.
Right, and she's in there.
And she's in there every single day. Like, I've had beers with Vi.
Yeah.
Like, she'll come into the cantina. It's great.
Yeah. They've done a bunch of those characters that most people wouldn't know, but when you add in the more recognizable characters, that's when you draw in a newer crowd, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And Vader, to start with Vader is definitely the right decision.
Well, and I'm really excited to see what the gift shops do, because their gift shops are really cool, but now they're gonna be really, really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because now you can pretty much pull from any era. I will say though, what's interesting is it's only originals right now. At least this is what they announced was Leia, Luke, Han, Vader. At what point do you think they switch over to the prequel era, or do they ever do that? Like, they're going from sequels to sequels and originals.
I think Ahsoka time they might dip into it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess
whenever that happens.
Well, I guess let me pull this up. Oh. Darth Vader and other original trilogy update coming to blah, 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 blah. So right here it says the original Galaxy's Edge timeline plays Batuu during the era of the Resistance and the First Order, between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. The new timeline will roll back several decades, expanding to span the events of Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian. That doesn't expand back to Empire or A New Hope or the prequels or Andor or Rogue One. Like, it only stops at Return of the Jedi. So it's cool. It's expansion. It's what we want. There's Vader, there's Luke, there's Han, there's Grogu, there's Din Djarin, and Ahsoka, but it's older Ahsoka. It's not prequel stuff.
But if they've opened this door, this is the testing ground to see what people will want. And if all it is, especially with like Thrawn's an easy character where they don't have to have like heavy costuming done. I mean, they paint him up and whatever, but it's not like it's not going to be like a Vader where you have to have those kind of costumes. And even though they have them, they're very expensive and they're a lot of work. So I can see it happening. And like I said earlier, Nathan was saying, imagine Thrawn and Vader. I will venture to say you're going to have Thrawn and Anakin and Padme before you're going to have Thrawn and Vader.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd have Thrawn first, because if that timeline's true, it's Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian, then The Mandalorian, or at least the Mandoverse time period, this time period we're in right now, would have Thrawn and Vader. Well, Vader's dead, but he was alive in Return of the Jedi. So I agree with you that I think eventually this is a testing ground and they'll get to the prequels eventually. Do you think there'll be a time ever where they're all intertwined and there'll be stormtroopers, clone troopers, first order troopers all walking around together?
I hope so.
That would be awesome. Or if they split the park in 3 and just made different eras, like you just walk through each era.
And then you could switch the eras on different days or different times.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, Nathan said the possibilities are endless. Of course they are, because Star Wars fans don't care about the timeline in the park. Just give us the great stuff. Just give us the great stuff.
Would they ever been there? Has like Jan said, Ahsoka, Boba, and Mando have been in Galaxy's Edge?
They make like special appearances. When I was there, a year now, almost 2 years ago now, when I was there at Disneyland in California. Was it Boba Fett? Somebody was there. I think it was Boba because it was like this huge thing. People were like, "Oh my god, Boba Fett's here!" Like, because it's not something that usually happens. It's like a rare event or something. But he just walked through, I think, a couple times and then left. And I think R2D2 came rolling out too at one point, and people were like, "This is rare." So I think those characters, like Derek kind of said earlier, they're like just testing the grounds, like they're figuring it out. So maybe they've just been working on those costumes slowly and trying to just.
Well, and Mando and Grogu have been at both parks for a while now, so like that's an everyday thing. What I'm anxious to see is so at Disney World they used to have the March of the First Order every day, multiple times a day. It was the greatest parade ever. They marched down Hollywood Studios and they had a stage set up, and every Star Wars like major character was out there. You even had like Darth Maul, and that's what we want. That's what we want. No one was like, why is Darth Maul standing next to Rey? It was like, oh my God, there's Darth Maul and Rey. And that's the thing. Is like, you can keep them separate in Galaxy's Edge a little bit, but like, give us Maul.
Yeah.
It's like if you play the Lego games, specifically the newest one, the Skywalker Saga one, where they have voice lines for like when two different characters interact that are never on screen together. So like Luke from the sequels talking to like little Annie or something, and they have like a funny voice line there because those two characters would never interact. They could do that in the parks. Like these characters don't interact on screen, so you can have fun with it off screen in this land that doesn't have to be canon to Star Wars at all times, at least.
Yeah, for sure. Now, they don't do, somebody said something about Disney or Star Wars night, but they don't
do those anymore.
Star Wars weekends or anything anymore, right?
I mean, they still do Star Wars night sometimes, I believe, but they don't do weekends anymore.
I think they do it like on May the 4th, but
actually this last year they didn't do anything. They like it was more of fans just showed up and in droves and held their lightsabers up. That was about it.
Yeah.
True. People have different tastes, and again, no matter what, there's going to be a character there for somebody, and I think that's the cool part. And the more you bring in there, the more people you're going to have that are going to be satisfied that I got to see Darth Vader, and she got to see Rey, and he got to see whoever else, R2D2, whoever happens to be there. I think those are the cool things. That, like Derek was saying, when you're in the park, you don't care about a timeline. You're not worried about who's, when somebody's birthday was and if they fit into this, series or what's going on. It's just, I get to be there. I get to stand next to R2D2. I get to stand next to Rey. I get to stand next to Darth Vader, or I get to see them interact. You get to see, the Darth Maul, thing up on stage when, one of the guys is dressed up and jumping around, and then you get to go up and fight with Vader, and, at least they used to, and some of those things back with the Star Tours. So I think, like Derek's saying, when you get into the park, it's like you're immersing yourself in it, and you don't care who it is, so, in there. You're just having a good time.
Yeah, and so correction, Jan said they were there and they did stuff. So that's at Disneyland. At Disney World, they did pretty much nothing for May the 4th and things like that. But, it's opening the door. And Disney World and Disneyland are very different. Disneyland is a lot more locals or people that are closer. Disney World is all people that are doing a big destination vacation, that once in a lifetime type of vacation. So, yeah,
I always wondered why that was, why they do it that way with the California thing, because Florida's way bigger, right?
The parks are the same, or the land's the same. But as far as like Disney World itself is, oh my gosh, it's huge.
Right.
But yes, as far as the actual lands are the same.
Okay, that's interesting.
I will say, I think Disney World is more. What's that?
You think because it's in California, they want to test it a little bit differently than going to Disney World?
They do, and they also have a lot bigger crop of actors and people that are performers. I mean, obviously, it's California, right outside of LA versus Orlando. Now Orlando's got plenty of people, but the caliber of people in Anaheim are probably better. And then and then also I'm very much more a Disney World person because it's also prettier. Like Galaxy's Edge and Disney World is better looking. And I'm not just saying that because I like it more. It's because they have to use different paint schemes. And one of these days we'll get Meg and Robin on the show when they're not working. They're scenic painters for Disney. And, I've walked through the parks with them and they're kind of pointing out like they have to use way more vibrant colors in Florida because, Jan says no way. Absolutely 100%. Because they have to use more vibrant colors in Florida because they fade much faster because of the sun. And Disneyland sees a lot more traffic than Hollywood Studios. Probably Hollywood Studios, but not Disney World on a whole. Disney World's the most visited place in the world.
I was about to say that about Jan, that Disneyland Galaxy's Edge is probably subject to more like casual fans like in foot traffic because they're visiting Disneyland. Whereas if you go to Disney World, the likelihood that people are making a pilgrimage to Hollywood Studios instead of Magic Kingdom might be smaller.
Right.
I think
Right. But also the unique turns through Disney World and even Hollywood Studios are higher than Disneyland. Versus Disneyland has a lot more repeat versus, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about how great Star Wars is. So I digress. and again, I'll put it out there that Galaxy's Edge in Florida is much prettier because ask Imagineers. They'll tell you they have to use more vibrant colors in Florida because they fade faster. So what they do actually, so this is kind of a cool thing. And again, I don't want to steal like Meg and Robin's thunder whenever we do get them on the show, but they know how the colors will fade with the sun. And so they do it in a matter of time of like, all right, this is how long we're going to go before we have to do a refresh. And they get it to fade to be similar to what's already in California.
That's crazy.
Pretty incredible stuff.
It is wild when you look at all the specific details and stuff that they have to do, like putting in smells and specific songs and specific locations and trash cans in specific locations. Like it's really wild how much thought goes into specific things at the parks.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's we're gonna switch gears a little bit. I think everybody's already seen this, but I thought this was pretty cool. And I know Mike had talked about this, but to see this in person, I think that's pretty cool that they actually got a picture of him with the little clipboard there, that shows that he's actually doing something. You got your director there and Tom's waiting around. Did you talk about this yesterday, Mike, this picture? And do we have ideas on the planet?
I've not talked about the picture, no, but I mean, I always go initially here, New Planet. It's definitely not Andor because they would be in the Redwood Forest, but it could be something like, my mind immediately goes to Dagobah, but it could be something like Ossus people have brought up, which is Luke's Jedi Temple planet. And maybe it's a flashback. It's a lightsaber duel. And that's what the biggest part of the whole news story is he filmed a lightsaber duel, which to our knowledge, we didn't think that there was going to be lightsaber duels in Starfighter. Like we didn't know that at all. So that's really, really cool. Not the fact that Tom Cruise is behind the camera, because honestly, like, Tom Cruise, he's great, whatever, sure. Lightsaber duel, it's a whole nother conversation. So I don't know. We could speculate what that planet
is.
If they play Danger
Zone when the lightsabers are doing, I'm going to lose my mind.
Thankfully,
I'm going to absolutely lose my mind.
But the cool thing, I think, too, is we'll be able to see or we'll remember, even though it's a year and a half away or whatever, but when they're in something like that or when they're having this lightsaber duel in the water, that we'll be able to tell, oh, okay, that's cool. That's one of the things that Tom Cruise filmed, which I thought was neat. And also with, like you talked about on your podcast as well, the Steven Spielberg showing up. I mean, that's huge. Whether it's just to say hello and see how things are going or to put his 2 cents in with something, but him and George go back, probably 50 years, at least, and then doing movies and stuff together with each other. But him to show up on this set, even if George wasn't on there, what an iconic person to show up on this set to to oversee it or just to compliment people. So I think this is obviously a big hype for them, bringing Ryan Gosling in. And I think it's just going to be as much as we think Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be big, I think this is going to be a very good movie for them as well, with everything that we're seeing. And now all of a sudden you're just dropping Tom Cruise's name in here for this movie, and Steven Spielberg happens to stop by. So I think, and it's good and bad, but we're almost getting more information about this than we are Mandalorian and Grogu, and we're definitely getting more about this than we are with the freaking Darth Maul. So
yeah.
So what are you guys' theories? Yeah, like what are your guys' theories on that? Like, why are we getting so much from this movie? Are they afraid that it's not going to do well?
Yes.
I think, go ahead, Mike.
Well, yes, because it's post sequels. That's a big deal. When you plaster the word sequels anywhere close to a Star Wars film, people begin to panic. So that's a big reason why they have to be like, look at this thing. This thing's cool. We got lightsaber duels. We got Ryan Gosling. We got Matt Smith. We got Sean Levy coming off the backs of Stranger Things. Like all that stuff. They want you to think this is new, awesome, cool lightsaber duels shot by a really cool whatever. Not sequels. Like they want that to be the last word in your mind because they know how divided people are on that thing.
Maybe they'll get Kenny Loggins to do the music for the movie. That'd be pretty amazing. I mean, I'm in for that. That'd be so awesome.
I'll throw out there too, to piggyback off Mike, whether it's sequel branded or not, it's also on its own right now. It's also entering in a thing. They've made a big deal, or at least Sean Levy's made a big deal about it standing on its own. Like, leave your preconceptions at the door. This is a new thing. We're trying not to, be tied down by the saga of the past, all that kind of stuff. But I also, do you guys get the feeling, to us, Filoni and Favreau are huge, and Favreau's big in the movie space, but Starfighter is getting a similar treatment to like J.J. Abrams coming in for The Force Awakens, or Gareth Edwards coming in for Rogue One, or Ron Howard taking over Solo. Similar treatment to that, whereas, it's a big deal for us that Filoni and Favreau are doing Mandalorian and Grogu, but it's not necessarily making the news. Yeah, I don't know. Do you feel like there's that kind of treatment going on? Like it's more movie-ish?
I mean, maybe, but so Max Rebo said, what did he say? Hold on. Let me get up there. I think Levy's leaking stuff because he isn't into the whole secrecy. It doesn't matter if he's into the secrecy or not. When you're working for Disney, you're going to do what they're going to tell you to do. So if he has an idea, if he's like, oh, hey, I think we should leak all this stuff because it's going to get people excited about a movie that no one cared about. I mean, we cared, but because who we are. I think that's probably more likely.
Yeah. I agree with Jan there too. I think Mando and Grogu kind of speaks for itself.
True. Yes. And when Jon Favreau came over to Star Wars, it was a big deal because he's the guy who kickstarted the MCU and he's done all these incredible movies. So that was a big deal. Not to this level, true. And comparing it to J.J. Abrams, it's similar, but I wouldn't say it's bigger. It's post sequels and it's new and not connected. So it's its own story in a place where we don't really have anything like that. Everything so far, even the Mandalorian and Grogu, will be connected to the Skywalker saga in one way or another. So was Solo, and so was Rogue One. So this is the first movie, because we had the Acolyte, but the first movie that's going to be outside the Skywalker saga that's seemingly unconnected, with lightsabers involved. I mean, let's all say it on three. Mara Jade, of course. 1, 2, 3.
Mara Jade.
Yeah. So going back to Tom Cruise, what he's shooting, lightsaber duel wise, who do we think swinging the lightsabers?
I
don't know if I have
Darth Bane.
Yeah.
Well, that would be nice.
No.
I don't know if we have enough. Maybe Matt Smith is all I could say, like, of who's in it.
Yes. Well, that begs the question, because we know two things about Matt Smith's character. Right. One, that he's got a haircut, and two, that he was only on set for a couple weeks. And those weeks did not include the time that Tom Cruise was on set. So now the timeline's starting to add up because Tom Cruise was on set in November where he filmed the scene, and Matt Smith wasn't on set until December where he was only on set for a couple of weeks. So his role is not that big in this movie. Or if it is, they didn't really do a lot of filming with him. And if you think that Matt Smith, who's supposed to be the villain, and Mia Goth as well, is wielding a lightsaber, who's a villain wielding a lightsaber right now in the galaxy? Like, that's why the fact that there's a lightsaber duel going on at all, there's not supposed to be many lightsabers going around. Like, that's big.
Yeah. I think it could, I think it possibly could be Mia. Because like you said, I mean, and that's the thing with with him not being there or him only being there a month, I think he'll be almost like a Palpatine figure, like we saw, you see him a little bit in Empire, and then you see him a little bit more in in Return. But I think that with the lack of him being there, that's where we're going to see him. He's going to be more of the more powerful type of Palpatine character, where Mia Goth, I think, will be a little bit more of the I guess antagonist at this point in this movie. And who else do we think is going to hold a lightsaber? It's either going to be, like we said, hopefully possibly Mara Jade, but how old is she going to be at this? Or is it going to be, what's his name, Fanner Flynn, great, the kid?
Yeah.
And is that going to happen? So yeah. I think there's not many possibilities because, like you said, Mike, there's not going to be a lot of lightsabers out there. And who are they going to belong to?
Well, not with that attitude, there's not a lot. Well, come on, man.
Yeah, I actually feel the opposite. I feel like it could be freaking anybody at this point.
Or everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a lightsaber. It's like,
not like
that. The problem I have is 5 years before this movie takes place, Palpatine, claims it himself, but maybe he was telling the truth, maybe he wasn't, we don't know. He claims to be all the Sith, and then he dies. So if this is a red lightsaber wielder or somebody of that sort, is it like a Balin Skull type character who's brand new and is weird and whatever? Or is it a new Sith, like an actual Sith Lord that's going to be the next one after Palpatine? Because that's a big deal. Like, post-Palpatine Sith Lord, that's a huge deal.
Yeah.
And as somebody else brought up in the chat too, it could be a flashback. Amy Adams could be playing Mara Jade and maybe not dueling Matt Smith, but how crazy would it be? Because there's all this talk of the hunt for Ben Solo. There's all this talk of Adam Driver coming back. What if they just didn't tell us? Because we feel like we're getting a lot of information from Starfighter. We really aren't, but it feels like we are. What if they filmed the scene of Kylo Ren destroying the Jedi Temple and Amy Adams as Mara Jade is there? Or Amy Adams as not Mara Jade, just anybody is there, and she is rescuing her child, because the timeline fits perfectly. This child is the perfect age to be around 1 year old or less at the exact time that Luke's Jedi Temple gets destroyed. And if Mara Jade, or if Amy Adams is the mother, then she would, and she's not involved. Like, why is Ryan Gosling there? Where's the mom? If she's dead, then she could have died in the events of Luke's Jedi Temple being destroyed. Which would be awesome. Getting to see Adam Driver back as Kylo Ren slicing and dicing younglings. Yes.
There's Mike. He's killing people already.
Yeah. There he is.
Now, what if we got something like a Darth Crates type character?
I'd be into that.
I'd be 100% down. Or if we tie it back to Maul Shadow Lord, they're introducing a Talon character or a version of a Talon character. And they're introducing her very, very young as Maul's apprentice. Imagine we get Maul training an apprentice in 2026. And in 2027, that apprentice is a lot older in wielding lightsabers versus Ryan Gosling.
Pretty great.
Absolutely.
I feel like we've put a lot of lines out there in the water because
something's gotta hit. We have made some predictions that have come true. So
very true. We also threw out that, some future antagonists could come of Ahsoka season 2, like whatever they, expand on in Peridia and this Thrawn stuff, could, come back in the Starfighter era. but we handle what we need to handle now in Ahsoka. I also am going to throw it out to Disney that they have a missed opportunity or an open opportunity with a topic that we've talked about before, which is catching Luke mentioning a group of his students leaving with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
What that is. And it was never spoken, so that's out there too.
Well,
yeah, and Amy Adams could be playing one of those characters. That's
Right.
what I'm saying. And
Right.
her son is Flynn Gray. Could be. The timeline adds up, which is the coolest part. Like this kid, if the rumors are that his mom was a Jedi, and she's not old enough to be an Order 66 Jedi, so she's got to be a Luke Skywalker Jedi. So she could be one of those surviving people. And her kid is going to be the main character of this movie with Ryan Gosling.
Now, what if one of the lightsaber guys might be an old former Jedi? Maybe named Cal Kestis.
Oh.
How old would he be?
He'd be very old.
Yeah, tubes and vials and everything.
Hey, but Palpatine came back from nowhere. So
I know. I'm saying he's rotted hands and all.
Hang on.
It wouldn't be an episode if I didn't bring up Cal Kestis. Well,
I don't think he would be as old as you think.
Well, he was born in like 14 BBY, I believe.
Let's see.
Force Awakens is 32 BBY.
So the Force Awakens is 32. He's
12. 32 after Return of the Jedi. So.
Oh, okay. 32, really? Okay.
I think so.
Well,
it's the same amount of time from 83 to 2015.
Kylo Ren. How old is Kylo Ren in the Force Awakens? Because he's born right after Endor. He's approximately 29. How are we approximating this? He's 29, so it must be 29 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 30 years, let's say. Round number, 30 years. So 19 years from prequels to originals, and then 30 years from originals to sequels. So you're looking at 50 years, and he was 12 during Order 66. So he'd only be in his mid-60s.
Oh, well, see? There we go.
Bad.
That's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. I kind of think maybe we cracked the case, guys.
70s in the sequels.
That's right. Mid-60s is not very old, guys. Okay, mid-60s.
Exactly.
Ron, what are you trying to tell us here?
So you're saying there's a chance.
He'd be slightly older than Luke in the sequels.
How old is Obi-Wan in New Hope?
57.
Oh. They don't age well in Star Wars.
The two twin sons did him dirty, okay? He's fine.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy is I'm pretty sure that Alec Guinness was only like 60 when they filmed it.
No, I think he was even younger than that.
Yeah.
I
but
think Obi-Wan in the 70s was like 90 now. I love when you're like, oh, like the Golden Girls when they taped this were in their like late 50s, and now you're like, this is what women look like in their 50s now. So Star Wars changes too; it evolves. So we could have Cal Kestis in this movie with a lightsaber.
I agree. Alec Guinness was 62 in 1977.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay,
yeah, that's crazy. Ewan McGregor right now is 54, almost 55.
Dang.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the two of them in Ahsoka and see how they look. But I think they did a cool job, and I'm going to go like we always do. I'm going to go off a little bit, but like we've talked about before. If we do a season 2 for Skeleton Crew, I think we've gone and they've gotten older and they've changed because we get to see it in Stranger Things. For the 5 seasons, which has been I don't even how long was it 5 years ago or longer than that?
2016 is when it came out.
Okay, so again, these kids are growing older. And I think, like we've talked about, we don't want them to get too old because kids obviously they look differently faster, and older faster. But I think you could still do a good job having a Skeleton Crew season 2. If we get one, that would be awesome. If not, bring these kids into Ahsoka or Mandalorian so we get to, see a little bit of Neil again or whatever, because I think that Atten is definitely going to play a part in Thrawn's, success.
We are not done with Atten. There is no way we're done with Atten.
Yeah. So
Not that I can recall it, but
we can,
you're on kind of a hot streak, so you might as well go for it. Yeah.
Didn't I make a prediction on one of the other shows? I don't remember. It was on Andor.
Oh, okay.
Her being pregnant.
Oh yeah, you did.
For sure.
Like,
which is heartbreaking, by the way. Thanks a lot, Derek.
Spoiler alert.
I think I called that after the first 3 released.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I mean, maybe I know things and maybe I know people. I don't, but I don't.
So while we're talking about Ben Solo and the hunt for Ben Solo, I sent you guys a picture of the legacy of Vader, and I know it's going to get a little chaotic in here, but I'm going to bring Jacob in, and we're going to talk a little bit about this legacy of Vader comic that we have, and I don't know what he's working
Star Wars
on
Democracy. How you doing? Welcome in.
Yeah. All right. Put your other comic down.
Jacob, what's up?
That might be the greatest entrance ever.
So,
what is up?
Yeah, if you guys haven't, we won't do any spoilers. So Jacob, don't do any spoilers. But it's a cool. I read the final this last one, which is pretty cool. And I've read a handful of them. I haven't read all of them, but like we've talked about, it fills in some really cool spots in here with Vader, with Kylo Ren, and I think we'll talk about it at the end and not to spoil anything. But I think they have a huge like they're coming out with the Maul comics, hopefully to build up some of this stuff. I think they did a great job at the end of this, hopefully bringing in some Ben Solo stuff sooner than we think. So what's your take on the whole series as a whole, Jacob?
I mean, honestly, it's a great just kind of transition of seeing Kylo in between the sequel movies, because we get to watch him essentially from the first issue, from the first real half of the series. It's him kind of going from planet to planet to major points, not only for Darth Vader's rise, but essentially Anakin Skywalker's fall. Because he went to Naboo, he created a resistance there, he strengthened the rebellion by stealing resources from the First Order. Whether he was trying to get these people to fight back hard enough to force the First Order to essentially wipe out the entire civilization that currently remains on Naboo, or he was trying to basically kickstart regulations and rules that the Empire has had, to where if there's a fight going on and they just don't have the resources, instead of calling in more forces and possibly wasting more of the Empire's sources, they just leave the planet alone entirely, come back another day. So in that moment, you're kind of in the mindset of so is this Kylo Ren trying to burn out Anakin Skywalker to truly strengthen Darth Vader's history? Or is this Ben trying to preserve what little details and history of his grandfather there still remains in the galaxy? Because not many people in the universe even realize that Anakin Skywalker fell to become Darth Vader. As far as they know, Darth Vader just came out of nowhere, or he was just a rogue Jedi and wiped out everybody. And then as we get further into the series, without going too deep into spoilers, essentially you're starting to see more of the conflict of this religious zealot, head in a jar, walking around on a little mech body that's the historian of Vader, the last true follower of Vader. And he's started to essentially trying to help Ben really get more into Vader's boots and fill in Vader's shoes. There's a whole scene in one of the panels where he's literally on Mustafar with this guy, and he's waking up from some random sleep, and the dude is lowering him into a lava pit wearing a reforged Vader helmet, kind of like how Kylo's was reforged, I want to say in Rise of Skywalker, if I remember correctly. So that was an awesome detail in and of itself. And without spoiling this last issue, there was more conflict, more on a spiritual level of him fighting his own demons. Like as you saw from the cover art, he does have like a bit of a spiritual fit with Darth Vader. But yeah, not trying to spoil too much. It's definitely worth the read. And this is the last issue of this storyline, Legacy of Vader. So it's only 12 issues to read. So even if y'all want to wait for the trade paperback to come out, I'm sure they'll include them all in one book. So it's all one simple read.
Yeah.
So we have somebody on there that was talking, about is this where Kylo got his saber? This is not anything in this series. You don't find out when he gets his saber, do you?
No, so this series, this whole entire 12-issue storyline takes place essentially between, I want to say, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. Because they do a bunch of like references and callbacks to like him having that failure on Star Killer Base, him offering his hand to Rey and her rejecting him. Like there's a bunch of stuff there that's like, oh, this is kind of gives a better idea of when this happens. Because in between the little journey from planet to planet, like kind of getting a refresher on Anakin Skywalker's fall and Vader's rise, and then this final bit between him and this follower of Vader, there is that little mini storyline where we also get to see what happened to the Knights of Ren, because apparently he kind of abandoned them after Snoke called upon him to be his follower, and someone else had to become the new head of Ren, and it was this girl named, I want to say, Tallow Ren, I believe. And she had her own red lightsaber. They didn't go too much into her detail, so this might just been like, we're going to introduce this character, see how she performs. If she's popular enough, we'll get her own series, being a part of like the Knights of Ren or the new Ren, whatever their whole steal is.
Yeah, Teva, right? I think.
Teva. There you go, Teva.
Yeah. My take with this, I have not read the last issue, but my take on it is it's just like the Vader comics where it adds a bit of storytelling, but for the Vader comics, it wasn't really necessary. For the sequel trilogy in general, I feel like, especially for Kylo Ren's character, it was. Like you just mentioned, the Knights of Ren stuff. The Knights of Ren stuff is so important to the sequel movies because they just disappear. They're not in The Last Jedi at all, and they're barely in The Force Awakens. And they just show up and they're best friends again in the Rise of Skywalker, and they just no explanation for that. So it does explain a lot of that stuff. I don't really know how it ends, so I don't really know. A lot of the Vader connection stuff is really cool because in The Force Awakens, he's praying to his grandfather, and he's like, oh, that connection's kind of gone by the end of the trilogy too. So it does connect back to that.
Yeah,
so
it definitely does connect back
Jacob,
to that.
He's supreme leader at that point in this issue, like this run of stories.
This should be after Last Jedi, so this is well after he's already taken out Snoke and taken control.
Yep. And then the guy in the jar does his name start with a V? Is it Vinay or something?
I believe like that, so. Yeah.
So isn't that the guy in Rogue One who's his servant?
Yeah.
In Mustafar.
Oh crap! Yeah, Mr. Like, oh yes, Master.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. I never made that connection.
So is he just chilling on Mustafar, but he's now a head in a jar?
Yeah, he's literally like a head in a jar, and he's like a literal hunchback, like droid body. It's hilarious design, but it's like that fits so well.
Yeah.
Well, I forget if we get many shots of Mustafar in the earlier comics, because at the beginning of Rise, it's like morphing because it's not as volcanic, for lack of a better word. It's not as active because the planet itself is actually like cooling down. Do we see shots of that in the comics?
They mainly kind of concentrate on Vader's castle. So like even though there is still active lava there, they kind of keep the scenery and the settings in his castle, because there's even portions of where the castle has essentially been remodeled into like a Indiana Jones, temple. Like Kylo's having to dip and dodge axes and, slamming walls and spikes and all sorts of traps and whatnot, because this is all his plan of, I will make you perfect like your grandfather before. You shall be the next great Vader. It's like, no, I'm going to do my own thing.
Well, Well, that's cool. And just while everybody's on here, I will let you know. And you can, I forget what it's called, but Jacob's going to be starting up his new or his older channel. He does a bunch of Funko Pops, but he's a big Marvel guy too as well. So you can look for his
Where are the
podcast.
links, Ron? Where are the links?
Yeah,
Come on, man.
It's still in the rough draft. That's on me. That's on me.
I'll put
Give
all
the
this
man
stuff
some
up.
love in the comments.
But yeah, I just think it's cool. Like we've talked about before in reference to Shadow of the Sith and these type of things that help me, enjoy the sequels a little bit more, where we get some more of these answers, these questions answered in these type of things where we have the comics. And that's why I'm excited about the whole mall thing coming out, and definitely be reading that stuff, because obviously they want us to, whether it's trying to bring up sales in the comics or whatever, but it's just a good idea to answer some of these questions. I feel like when we don't have all the answers in the movies or in the live action, we can start getting some of these little answers, just like we do in the Tales series. We have these 12-minute episodes or 15-minute episodes that cover so much, and I think they've done such a great job. And you don't have to spend the $300 million on a comic series or a new book to explain some of the things that need to be explained.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
But so in reference without spoiling it, I think that I'm trying not to spoil it, but at the end of
it
this,
just come out today.
it just, I know. I think so. You have to go read it, but at the end, I really think that that Disney or whoever has pushed this knew about the Hunt for Ben Solo, and I think that this helps sort of tie that together. That this is definitely something that we could possibly see in the near future. I think within the next couple of years, especially if all this is true, where there is this is already written, we already have somebody, all these people are behind it, and once we get rid of Bob, they go and present it to this new CEO or whatever, and he's like, okay, I'm giving it the green light. So not to spoil it, but go read it. It'll help you. It'll convince you that the Hunt for Ben Solo could be here sooner than we think. So.
Yeah. And my take on that too is sort of like with Vader, specifically as a character, Anakin, I guess, as he was the one who almost like pulls Ahsoka into the world between worlds, and he's very Mortis God arc. He's told that he's supposed to be the father, all that. In the Vader comics, you get a lot of mystical things, for lack of a better word, with Vader, where he's going into this different like force dimension or whatever, and he's bleeding his kyber crystal, and he's seeing all these visions and flashbacks to the past and future and whatever. You get a lot of that in this comic series too, where in previous books Kylo Ren is going to the afterlife dimension pretty much and having a conversation with Luke Skywalker and others, and now you have that connection of both these characters having done things like that in canon, in comics.
Yep.
And it allows you to maybe, bring Ben Solo back through the world between worlds. Which is...
Yeah.
I mean, give the people what they want.
Give the people what they want.
That's got to be our slogan.
Yeah.
That's got to be our slogan.
Did you guys hear
Star Wars slogan?
Do you guys hear about Poe Dameron or about Oscar Isaac?
Yes.
Yeah, Mike,
awesome.
Mike did a big thing on that. If you want to, Mike, you want to touch on that a little bit?
Okay, so at the Golden Globes on Sunday, Oscar Isaac was shout out to Josh Horowitz. He's a guy who just interviews a bunch of celebrities. He's great, but he asks him about the Hunt for Ben Solo, which nobody else has the balls to do, and it was great because he asks him, and his answer, he's like, were you involved with the Hunt for Ben Solo with Soderbergh and Adam Driver? And his response is pretty much like, how dare you ask me that? He literally says that. How dare you ask me that? And then he's like, oh, my flight is leaving, and he's at the Golden Globe Awards. So obviously he's like joking about it, but he doesn't say yes. He doesn't say no. He just says, how dare you? And Josh is like, we got him. Poe Dameron's definitely in the movie, confirmed.
He's in it. It's
so
all been a
great.
ruse, a very clever ruse.
Yeah, but you got to think like, if they got that far into development, 2 years with the script, with all that, Adam Driver is friends with these people. Like, they worked on movies for 6 years. Yeah, 6 years together. You have to assume that they're in group chats, that they're talking to each other all the time, that like Poe Dameron was probably involved in the movie, whether it was a tiny detail where he just shows up or it's this huge role. Doesn't matter. Oscar Isaac's in the know in that. So is Daisy Ridley. So is John Boyega. Like, after 2 years of production, they have to be.
Oh, absolutely. And you want to bring all those characters back because they're going to be the ones that are going to help this, but also bring the people in. Because as much as, like I talked about before, as much as some of these characters are hated on, there's still a huge love for these characters, and once they come to the big screen, it's going to be awesome. And especially this whole Adam Driver thing, and then even I don't know, I think it wasn't a huge success, but the Frankenstein movie has come out with Oscar Isaac, so you're building him up a little bit more. Jacob, maybe you can answer this with the Moon Shadow or Moon whatever he played. Yeah, right. Is there going to be a season two on that?
That's so unfortunate.
I'll say
is there going to be a season 2, or is anybody? There is or is not?
There definitely needs to be, but there's no word, because right now, as far as I can tell, since they've had to make their transition from the commitment that they were, the big villain arc that they were setting up for with Kang the Conqueror, and that all kind of fell through. Now they have to transition to Doom to kind of save the MCU as best they can. They're putting all in for like these next 2 movies outside of, I think, Spider-Man: A Brand New Day. So Avengers Doomsday and then Secret Wars, which is one of the biggest like Marvel comic book crossover event to date. Like, they've had the Infinity War already, they've got the Secret Wars, there's the Annihilation event. There's so many things that they can build up for and set the future for, but it's always going to be, what is Disney's goal with Marvel in the end? Because I mean, we've all had discussions of like with Star Wars alone, it's like, here's what the fans want, the people that have been watching the movies since they've been coming out, all the shows, the video games, reading the books, the comic books. This is what we're wanting. They get so close, but then they fall off. It's like, what happened? It's because they're also trying to keep the balance of making new fans. Because how can you really spike up the numbers and percentages of people that actually read the books or the comic books that come from these original sources if they aren't interested in the big, fancy cinematic version? The high value, high dollar. Because there's plenty of fan films out there that are high quality. I can't even list all the fan Star Wars films I've seen. I'm like, that's so crazy how high the quality in those. Yeah. And these are just people making it in their free time outside of doing their normal day-to-day jobs. Yeah. So I think there's too much potential to not be able to get a second season of Moon Knight. I don't think there's any reason they could hold themselves back, but it's truly just, what is the balance between the committed fans, the oncoming fans, and the yet-to-be fans when it comes to introducing characters or continuing character storylines than what we've already gotten so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mainly my thing was wondering about Oscar Isaac. So
he's too high quality.
I think Jacob will take that and just expand on all that Marvel stuff. But again, I think that Oscar Isaac right now is the most relevant. So you have him at the Golden Globes. Nobody else is there, in reference to that. So when you have someone like that, of that caliber, that just came off of the Frankenstein movie, that is in Star Wars, we had something a couple weeks ago as well. I think he had another interview or month or so ago. So someone like him and his caliber, I think it's really cool that that guy, like you said, Mike, just sort of brought that up, and sort of caught him off guard, and he was like, okay, what can I come up with here? Yeah. So that's definitely a cool thing. But I think that once we get the 3 of them back together, I think that will be a cool scenario in reference to, whatever they've written for this, Hunt for Ben Solo thing.
Right. Well, and we talked on an earlier episode about Oscar Isaac and his statements about Disney and like, I'm not going to work with them if they do this and this and this.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, were you working with them when you said it?
Yeah.
Because that's a different story of like, boy, oh boy, like this is the red herring. Like, what are you doing? Like, let's pull back the mask, Scooby-Doo. And I'm kind of like, if that's the case, nice work.
Well, Mike's talked about that before with the people lying, actors and actresses lying in their NDAs and stuff like that, so hopefully we will get to see, somebody like Katie Sackhoff, and some of these other, Tamara Morrison, in some of these things when they're saying that they're not going to be in them. So hopefully like this, we'll get somebody like Oscar, just
or maybe Rose will come back. That'd be great.
Rose. Well, that's the thing too with all these sequel characters. It's, as Connie brought up in the chat, love them or hate them, all these characters have a place and a reason to be there. You can't just tell post sequel stuff without them. Like it's like going
to Codebreaker. Yeah, we need them.
It's trying to go tell post original stories without those characters, or trying to tell post prequels without Obi-Wan and Vader. It's like if the prequel trilogy ended in 2005 and they didn't make Clone Wars, they didn't make The Bad Batch, they didn't make Kenobi and all that other stuff after that. And they were just like, nope, people were kind of negative towards, or they were very negative towards the prequels. Let's just stop making content completely. They can't do that with the sequels either, just because there's some people that are very, very against the sequels, or by very, I mean like literal death threats, bad. Like, yes, there's those people, but there are also people who love the sequels and want more of those characters. And you can't just do post-sequel stuff without involving those characters or explaining where they are, at least. And when you have the Hunt for Ben Solo, when you have the Rey movie, when you have plenty of opportunities to tell stories with these characters that a lot of fans do want, if you're denying that, then I don't know what you're looking at. Then they gotta make it happen.
Now, those are the same people that don't want the Acolyte. Hour and 17 minutes.
Wow. Stamp it.
True.
Do we need that for? I did it on purpose. We need that for every episode. How long until they bring up the Acolyte?
The Acolyte was like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the only podcast with a drinking game.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go. The Acolyte's a walking contradiction, though, because the same people that really love Palpatine in Plagueis, and specifically, I guess, the Legends Plagueis novel, they're the same people that don't want more Plagueis in season 2 of The Acolyte. Like, it's the same people arguing back and forth. But, yeah, The Acolyte's a whole nother disaster of a conversation.
Oh, well, let's run with it
then. but not here, which is cool, because everybody on this channel enjoyed it and liked it, and that's what's cool about it, because again, there's so many different things that go on in reference to this, and I think once it comes around a little bit longer, or we see something like that happened with the prequels, and I think that same with the sequels, as they continue to come back around a little bit, like this whole Hunt for Ben Solo thing. Everybody was so against, Hayden back in the day, and, everybody was, Kylo and this and that and Rey, but people are still going to go see these movies. I think, they still crushed it in the box office, and you have all these new fans coming out for Mandalorian and Grogu. People are still going to want to go see the whole Starfighter thing. And I think now that they've brought the lightsabers into it, you can say as much as you want as, oh, this is going to be a separate movie. This is going to be a separate movie. Once you bring lightsabers into it, who do you think of? Especially if it's a red lightsaber, you're going right to Darth Vader, and that brings us back right to where we started today, where they're bringing Darth Vader back into Disney, into the parks, because people know who he is. People love him. People love to hate him. But he is one of the biggest, if not the biggest villain out there. And when you bring a lightsaber into Starfighter, my opinion, and I think it's a good thing. I don't think, we can say, oh, you got to get away from the Skywalkers. That's where this started. George started with the Skywalker saga and everything else that comes from it. It's just like the whole Star Trek thing, the whole Gene Roddenberry thing where he started all these different spin-offs that they have done for Star Trek. It's the same thing. George created this Skywalker series. Whether you want to think that Return of the Jedi or any of these other ones are different, but it's about Anakin Skywalker, Palpatine, Luke, Anakin / Darth Vader. But that's what these are all about. And I think that it's great. And I think anything that we get out here is still going to be fantastic. And we've talked about that before. And that we're able to come on here and talk about these things for 2 hours, or 6 hours a week, Mike. It just shows what this whole fandom is about and what George has created for us.
Well, and with having a lightsaber in the new movie, that just gives way more merchandising. I mean, I'm the guy that's going to bring back parks and merchandise. They don't have a new game coming out anytime soon. They don't have anything else. So like they're pulling from old legacy blades, and they do those so much at Galaxy's Edge. So if you're changing Galaxy's Edge and now you're bringing in more people, you're doing this to bring in more crowds, more stuff, you have to give them more merchandise. So give them a new lightsaber. I mean, they'll always come up with other ones and characters that you haven't really thought of for a lightsaber. But this is even better. Get them a lightsaber that looks so good that's also tied to a new movie.
Yeah, Starfighter's the perfect place to do that. I will say, so speaking of new lightsabers, going back to the Acolyte, Chimere's got the coolest one. It's a freaking splits into two, and it's
who else has a lightsaber that splits into two?
Oh,
Cal Kestis.
He does.
He sure does.
Make him live.
What I find really funny about the Acolyte is at some point, and probably right now, you're going to have kids who are introduced to Star Wars. They go on Disney Plus and they're watching Star Wars. And probably because the timeline starts with the Acolyte when you look at timeline order.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
Oh.
We lost
Pull
him.
the plug on him.
Oh,
yeah.
Look,
there we go.
What happened? Fixed it. Okay.
There we go.
They didn't want me to talk about the Acolyte, apparently.
I guess not.
Some kid is going to go on Disney Plus, watch the Acolyte for the first time, and then go, wait, there's no season 2 of this? What just happened? There's all these cliffhangers. What's happening? Like that's for kids who, again, don't really know what's happening, and it's already been coming up on 2 years now or whatever it's been. The cliffhangers left at the end of that season are going to remain like the biggest cliffhangers for a long time until they greenlight a second season, or at least do something with that story.
Yeah, absolutely. Because again, what's the last thing you see? You see Chimere and I can't think of her name, but Osha, standing there. I mean, besides when they talk to Yoda and stuff, but that's the cliffhanger right there. Okay, what's in store for these two? Besides, yes, we know Plagueis, but again, somebody coming on there, looking at that, watching this creature sort of peek around the corner, all creepy. Okay, or it's a new character, whatever. They don't know that. But yes, the cliffhanger is Osha and Chimere at the end. Okay, now what do we get? What's happening after this? And something has to happen, even if we don't get a second season. We have to get a comic series. We have to get some sort of book, or even a Tales would be cool. Just to sort of see, even if they kill him off, or Osha gets killed, something that can sort of wrap that up, in a nice little bow, and we can all be satisfied with it. And I think that would help some of the haters as well. If you could wrap some of that stuff up, we're still going to have some people are just going to hate it no matter what. But I think that we could definitely possibly try to, bring some new people into this if they have a little bit more information on it.
Yeah. I think part of it too is that if we don't get any more Acolyte in any sort of way, we can presume, as Grand Admiral Holly said in the chat, Chimere and Osha are toast anyway. And we at least are seeing sort of the symbolic rotting of the Jedi a little bit with, I can't imagine I forget her name already. It's been almost a year and a half. Green Vernestra.
Vernestra.
Yeah. Vernestra obviously is either like in some hot shit, first cuss word of the day, or lies to Yoda, or Yoda hears it and just kind of does, that's eroding. You have a politician who's like 100% right about what could happen with them. We see all that, and it could be a cliffhanger to an awesome season 2, or they may have miscalculated people's ability in 2024 to like make inferences on what that means. That you could leave it, like it's symbolic in its own way. I think Chimere and Osha know that they have no idea what's going to happen to them. We see Plagueis. We know he makes it out. We see all of those things happening. I don't think that we're going to leave it there. I agree with you, Ron, and all what we've talked about. Like, I think we'll at least get novels. I think we'll get comics for sure. I didn't even think about a Tales until you just said it. I would love a Tales.
Yeah.
That could just cover it, honestly. The way that Tales have been doing one of these to some of these topics in such a short amount of time, I'd be into it. You could do like a Tales. Yeah, you could do a dual Tales of like the Acolyte situation, and then like maybe the High Republic into prequel Republic era Sith stuff, or whatever.
But to show Vernestra and him as a Jedi and apprentice, and sort of, because that's one of the big things I want to see is what happened there.
Yeah.
Why did this Jedi, as we all suspect, why did she take her whip blade and do this to him? What did he do to deserve that, or to think that she actually killed him, possibly? And then again, for him to, with the cortosis, I thought was just so cool. And like you said, Mike, with the lightsaber that splits apart, there's so many cool things and so many different things that we could explore in this. Even if they go in a different way, that would be cool. But there's a bunch of cliffhangers there, and I definitely agree with you, Mike, when you talk about somebody coming out for the first time, or these new kids going, oh, I'm going to watch it from the very beginning, and this is 125 years before, whatever, and then you're like, okay, now what? And then you go to the next in chronological order and go, well, wait, what about what just happened here? What's that? Where are these characters? How come they're not in this anymore?
Right. Well, and Jan's talking about like Vern and Plagueis, and what about like the whip lightsaber?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome! Like, we needed that.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
We really need that.
As Ron mentioned too, like what falling out could have Master and Apprentice could have possibly had that ended with her whipping him in the back, leaving him with all those scars.
Right.
And to that point too, when asked about it, he's like, yeah, that happened a really long time ago. Because Osha's question is, if you were once a Jedi, why didn't I know about you? And he's like, oh, I'm old. Like, I'm real old. Like, he could be 100 years old for all we know, which is really cool, because looks like he's 30 and he could be 100. But yeah, I mean, all those questions need to be answered. And from what we have learned since the show ended, Plagueis' relationship to Chimere is not Master and Apprentice. It's that guy's a problem, and I got to go deal with him.
Right.
So that would be even cooler.
They might not know each other. Like Chimere might be posturing as a Sith because he likes, he's like, you would call me a Sith. And Plagueis hears about, hey, there's some guy running around, is going to accidentally get them looking for us.
I would say Nathan in the chat, he made a good point, like proposing that Palpatine may be the one that kills Chimere. It's like Plagueis like, yo, there's some kid trying to be a pretender, and he's not even one of us. Go clean that up, otherwise I'm going to take care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't give an age for him exactly, but it does say that he is much older than he looks.
Yeah. It could very easily, too, lead from Plagueis. Like, we don't even know in canon, because this is 100 years before the prequels, we don't even know if Tenebris is still alive, Plagueis' master. And we don't know if that falling out happened yet or not. And then it can lead into that because at least in Legends, Tenebris dies on that planet, that unknown planet that they were on. Completely blanking on the name right now, but that's besides the point. It could eventually lead into Palpatine, young Palpatine, and all that stuff, and lead in perfectly into the prequel trilogy. But
that's it. Jan just made another point. Like the Virgins and the Force thing with the twins, would be of magnificent importance to what Plagueis has been working on.
Yeah, whole goal.
Yeah, and so he might. I just am of the belief he's not aligned with Chimera at all. I think I agree with whoever said that in the chat, but that would be huge for him, especially like kind of studying it. I don't know what it does for his work, but it surely informs him and Palpatine of when they discover a Virgins in the Force 100 years later, and get a little excited about it. I need to ask a question about the Plagueis novel, though. I can't believe it's my favorite or second favorite novel, and I'm forgetting this. By the way, my bad, guys. I made a mistake on the stream last week. Got crucified for it in our post comments. My bad. I am the problem with
Mike. Sorry.
I am the problem with Star Wars. That's my fault. I'm sorry.
We
all your fault.
We had somebody tell us that we didn't know what we were talking about on here.
Although Mike corrected me on air and Max Rebo corrected me on air, but
I've never said anything wrong before ever.
From here on out, we never will. That's my fault. But if you ever have a problem with what we're saying, feel free to hop in the chat. We'll talk. That's what this is here for.
Yeah.
Anyway, my question is, I can't remember when does Plagueis get his breathing apparatus because of the cave-in with Tenebris, or is it later in the accident?
It's later. He gets attacked.
He gets in the assassination attempt.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's injured in the Tenebris stuff, but I don't think that's definitely not when he gets the breathing apparatus.
Right.
Because as I listened to the audiobook, he talked normally for the majority of the book, and then he became
good for her.
Yeah. And to the point of people trying to correct us in the chat, I have never claimed to know everything about Star Wars. I actually just asked moments ago what that planet was called, so we're gonna make mistakes. I didn't know we had to be perfect this whole time. That's on me. My bad.
Yeah.
Well,
I didn't either. I
thought I did.
As Obi-Wan once said, only assist deals in absolutes. So
there you go.
There you go. Derek's the Sith.
Yeah, I've said some very wrong things, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So we're rolling up on an hour and a half. Thanks, Jacob, for jumping on and helping us out with this comic. Like I posted up in there, it's J Hysteria 23. We're actually going to start doing some more stuff. He's got a bunch of posts up there from a while back. It's actually pretty funny. He's quite a bit younger, but go check him out. Thank you everybody for coming on tonight. We had a really good chat over here. I think we did a great job. Derek, thank you for bringing us some more information about the parks. I know everybody's excited about that. Mike and Nick, again, thank you guys for being on here. But everybody that's in the chat here, it's very appreciative that you guys come on here and listen to us talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours each week about something that we all love, obviously. Again, most of you already know, check out Mike. He's on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 2 p.m. At Eastern time. And we'll be back here on Wednesday and from now on. So hopefully we'll get some Darth Maul stuff sometime soon here. I also think, especially with the Super Bowl coming, like Mike, you were talking about, I think we talked a little bit last week. I think some Super Bowl stuff we'll get from Mandalorian and Grogu because it's more of a theater type of thing and more people where the animated stuff on Disney Plus is what we're all psyched about. But I think we'll definitely get some more stuff, but hopefully we'll get some Maul stuff here, at least in the next I would hope at least in the next month, if not in the next couple weeks for some of that. So, but yeah, go check out Mike, go check out Jake's page, and we will see you guys on the next Star Wars Jedi chat Wednesdays, 7 p.m. May the Force be with you. Thanks, guys.